You're listening to the Wedding Biz Network, the voice of the creative entrepreneur. Hey everyone, it's Andy Kushner with The Wedding Biz, and I am so excited because last Thursday we dropped Preston Bailey's second episode on his new podcast, Stop and Smell the Roses, which is a part of the Wedding Biz Network. And during it, he interviewed Marcy Bloom. It was such an incredible conversation, so be sure to go to the Wedding Biz Network. So, if you missed last week's episodes, on Monday, we had a conversation with Cece Johnson. That was her third time back on the show. She's always so honest, direct, humble. It was really great. And then on Wednesday, we had a conversation with Nikki Khan. And it was Nikki's second time on the show, wonderful planner designer out of the LA area, specializing in South Asian weddings. So, for today's guest, I am continuing my conversation series with today's special fun guest, Ron Ben Israel. Ron was last on in episode number 48, so be sure to check that one out. We got totally into his backstory, had a blast, so that was episode 48. Ron founded Ron Ben Israel Cakes, and in addition to creating stunning and delectable cakes, from 2011 to 2013, he hosted the cooking competition TV show Sweet Genius. He was also a judge on the Food Network's Cake Wars, and he now has a new television show called The Big Bake on Food Network Canada. And so he talks all about that, as well as a new venture called RBI Treats. And we begin by talking about how the pandemic has impacted both his business and personal life. Ron is very forthcoming and, as usual, a blast, making this a great listen. So enjoy my conversation with Ron Ben Israel. Ron, hey, it's so good to have you on the show. We ran into each other. I don't remember what conference. It was back right at the beginning of the pandemic.
It was Cater Source and the special event.
Yeah.
And it was exactly a week before shutdown.
That's what it was. It was in the lobby in Vegas. I think I was there. You were just checking in. And I remember they were starting to talk about something because I remember being really paranoid walking around there.
Well, you said it. I hugged you and you recoiled.
I don't remember that. No, I don't think we did. I think that there was enough information out that it was like, let's be careful here.
Well, what happened is people started to not shake hands and hug a little bit
That's
less.
Right.
And there were hand sanitizer everywhere.
Yes.
And everybody would go in and out of the bathrooms to wash their hands.
Yes.
But knew nothing about masks.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine how many people must have spread it at that time? Well, it was still the very beginning, so maybe it wasn't that bad.
Well, I was there for almost 8 days, and there were over 5,000 people,
right.
And I was lecturing and socializing, and we attended a lot of events, and I was sure that I'm going to come down with something, and nothing happened. So it's, to be healthy is now so appreciable. I appreciate every day.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I'd love to know how you've dealt with it from a business perspective, but even before we get there, like personally, how has this gone for you? How has your life been affected? How are you doing?
What life?
Well,
well, so much has happened in 9 months. Maybe we should start from today.
Sure.
So the reason I'm so mellow and calm is because I'm not at home, neither at work.
Yeah.
I'm actually in Toronto, Canada.
Yeah.
And I'm in my first week of 2 weeks mandatory quarantine.
And that is because I know you have big news to share.
So I'm going to start filming 5 week, which is a long time for a reality food TV for Food Network. So it's a new TV show, and it's produced joint production of the Canadian Food Network and the American. 18 episodes, which usually it's a lot. Usually shows are taped for 10, maybe sometimes 13 episodes.
Wow.
It will take 5 weeks, and everybody involved is in a bubble. So everybody had to be quarantined for 2 weeks, tested, and from what I understand, it's a very evolved and very costly operation to keep everybody as safe as possible. So the non-Canadians who had to come from the States had to become essential workers. So we were declared essential worker, and the immigration asked me, So TV is essential. I said, cake is essential.
Right.
My new motto, my new tagline.
I like that. Yeah.
So we're all quarantining separately. They're taking good care of us. So I wouldn't go crazy. The production provided a remote trainer. So every day I have this. I'm afraid of the guy. So I do as many push-ups as he tells me to do. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity to get in shape and also to get the energy, because once we are on the set, it's 14 hours days and very intense.
Wow.
And it's going to be longer because everybody is kept separate and then comes together for the actual on-set action and then apart. So it will be very interesting. And I hope not to worry too much and just be able to trust everybody and to be able to do it. I know they've been shooting food TV in California as well, and have tried to keep everybody isolated and some magic of TV to stitch it together.
Jeez. Well, can you tell me anything about the concept of the show? Can you reveal that?
Oh, it goes by seasons. So we're going to have a few episodes of Halloween, and there's going to be spring and summer and so forth.
But what is the idea? Is there any competition or
competition? But we are very nice.
Oh, come on. No. We need a Simon Cowell in there. You got to be like Simon.
No, this is Canada. It's different.
Yeah.
There's no cutthroat.
No.
It's about everybody excelling. It's more like the English show. Everybody is encouraged to succeed. Nobody is really failing.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's what I understand from the first season, which I did last year. I will see, because I think there's so much stress for everyone these days. We want to bring magic rather than humiliation.
I like that. That's a tagline right there. We're going to bring magic, not humiliation. Do you know when it's going to get released this season?
No, usually it takes a few months to edit, but I would assume everything is backed up, because usually the editors would be in one building and maybe they will divide it to a lot of people who work remotely. So the nice thing about being in a TV show, as opposed to owning and running your own business, that I'm not in charge.
Right.
It's such a relief. And maybe that's why I'm mellow, because there's so many people one has to trust. You can't look behind the camera and be in front of it at the same time.
That's an interesting point. Yeah.
And there are usually 7 to 9 cameras on set. It's a huge set. They want to capture each angle at the same time. So my job is defined, and I need to think about clever and amusing and silly things to say, and be observant and deliver my, I don't want to say verdict, but conclusions, and confirm with other judges who are fantastic. My challenge now is really to get in shape, because the other judges are extremely good looking and smart and accomplished. So, but they don't have accents.
Listen, this is your signature.
Thank you. Yeah. So I can give you some hints, even though it's on the website.
Yeah.
The Food Network website. 2 of the judge and one of the host and one of the judges previously were professional football players in Canada and in the States.
Oh, come on. Okay.
I kid you not.
Yeah.
And as smooth as silk. So Eddie Jackson, who is the American one, also succeeded in other shows such as the Food Network Next Star. And he's very smooth and shaves his head too.
Okay.
And then the host, Brad Smith, not only was a well-known football player here in Canada, he was also Canada's first bachelor.
Oh, come on. Really?
Those people are incredible.
That's brilliant. Ron, that's brilliant.
And listen to that. The blonde, Harry Eastwood from England, has the most... of course she has an accent. She sounds like the BBC. She speaks the Queen's English. And she's blonde. And she's loving and clever. So I really have no choice unless I fall down on my face or do something funny.
Oh, listen, you are, you just need to be yourself. And this is going to be extremely fun and entertaining. There's no question about that. I mean, and you've done a lot of TV, right? I mean, how many?
Yeah, I think last time I counted, and a lot of them are listed on IMDb, Internet Movie Database, but sometimes I miss it. There have been more than 100 episodes more than that. Most of my career is not about TV. I do guesting, or once in a while I would get a season. Sweet Genius had 3 seasons, which was nice. But I can't do TV full time. I have a bakery and a studio to run, and we teach there. Now is a good time.
It's really perfect. I mean, what a wonderful opportunity. I mean, on so many different levels. And also, one of the issues I know that I have to deal with, and we all have to deal with, is the creative side, right? That we haven't been able, I mean, I'll say in a moment how I'm handling it, but it's not just a stop financially and the struggles and everything that we're dealing with that, and what do we do with our teams, but it's also being creative. We don't have that outlet that we normally have. So I'm happy for you that you have this. I mean, right? This is a creative outlet for you.
Talk about financial. It's not just the stoppage of income. It's actually getting into huge debt because a lot of the business expenses continue. I have a large facility in New York City in Midtown. It's 4,000 square feet and the rent has to be paid. There's always electric unless you're totally disconnected. So that's our biggest expense. We do continue working. So to bring employees is very costly. You still have the insurance, the workers' comp, the liability. It doesn't end just because we have less income. And I hope that the US government will be able to figure help, because there's no way we can return all the loans.
Yeah, I've been open about this just recently, a few weeks ago, I did this episode where I, talked about how it's affected me, and I'm open about it. I mean, I got PPP money, I got some unemployment, there's been a county grant. I have a business loan that part of it has been, handled for 6 months, and I'm negotiating to get more, from the bank. I mean, through the CARES Act. So yeah, I mean, thank God that there's been some help along the way, and hopefully there'll be more.
But the help is only temporary, and there was no way the PPP is based on the payroll. But here's the interesting thing. There would have been forgiveness of the loan if we were to shut down. If we were an event space or hotel, and we were no longer able, and I don't want to speak to other establishments in the event industry, but my understanding is that if we are forbidden from operating a restaurant, as horrible as it is, the money could have been forgiven. But we have empty space. The reason we can't operate is because there are no more orders.
Right.
All the top hotels like the Pierre and the Mandarin and the Palace are not holding weddings, and therefore we have no work, and therefore I had to let my employees stay at home. So I don't know if we will be eligible for any forgiveness.
Oh, geez. Wow, this is a real challenge. Setting aside the financial struggle, which I understand is there, it's palpable. What has a typical day been like for you compared to what it used to be?
The very first month was a fantastic month because I dusted all my beloved baking books.
Okay.
And I could not get in the local shops any bread flours or yeast.
Oh, geez.
So I contacted my wholesale provider, and they brought a 50-pound bag of bread flour and 1 kilo of yeast. And I started re-experimenting with everything, breads and European yeast-raised doughs, and it was fantastic. Every day I would make a new thing, and then I would eat it. I tried to give some to my neighbors, but most of them left the building to outside of New York City. So the first month was about baking, and then I realized I'm in trouble. The other way to keep busy, which was, it wasn't relaxing. I was working every day, many hours, because I deal mostly with weddings and bar mitzvahs and celebrations. Everybody was canceling or postponing or needed support.
Right.
So it was quickly we were networking between the locations and the party planners and the florists and the musicians like yourself. We were all trying to coordinate second day, and then came the third day. So the amount of paperwork and communication consumed a big part of the day. And then it took a while to realize that nothing is coming back really quickly.
Yeah.
and everybody postponed for the long future. So then we came to April, and I realized after doing Zoom with my friends that we need to start doing something. So you were my hero, and I started on Instagram Live.
Oh,
Cake Talk.
yeah.
Ron and Friends. How's my accent? Cake Talk.
Cake Talk. Come on, that's funny coming out of you.
So yes, I know. So I used it as a platform, Instagram Live, and I hosted from my couch a cake maker every week for 9 months until yesterday.
Wow, I've got to look at that.
So we had a total of 35 guests, and I collected the visuals. The reason I liked Instagram Live is, even though it has limitations, that I could also show photographs and little videos and have a one-to-one exchange. And the reception has been great. The most we got in one session was 10,000.
Wow, come on, Ron. That's fantastic, 10,000. Wow.
Well, I learned from you.
Well, I remember we talked about, because I'm now producing shows for other people, and back in the very beginning when I was thinking about it, I know we talked about it, but there was that limitation, obviously, with the podcast that it's not visual, So I'm so happy to hear that you were able to find a way around it and to do this yourself.
So I thought about it, Andy. People who listen to your podcast told me that they did it while driving to work or on the subway.
Exercising, all kinds of ways, yeah.
People love your velvet voice.
Oh, thank you.
So a lot of people actually enjoy the format of radio and now podcast. It has a specific place for it and a historical place. The idea with Instagram Live is, especially for people who are interested in pastry and baking, that you can see.
Yeah, sure.
And then I can ask the participants, the guests, how did you do this? How did you approach that? We can show sketches. We can show elements of inspiration. So I like that medium. Of course, it has limitations. Everything is tiny on the phone screen. It's two little squares.
Yeah, it's true.
I learned how to I learned how to manage. But I announced after 35 episodes without a break that I need to take a winter hiatus because there's no way I can go into a production. You could improvise from the TV studio, but you can't really hold a serious, prepared discussion.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll be back. There's so many people, and I had people from all over the world. And that was really not just as guests, but also as participant. You know what surprised me the most? We got a lot from people who are interested in cakes from Iran and from the Arab Emirates, Dubai, Saudi Arabia. Apparently, they have a great cake culture.
That's interesting. Wow.
Hopefully, I'll be able to travel there and engage.
Oh, yeah. That sounds really wonderful. I want to be sure you know the wonderful news of our latest show, Stop and Smell the Roses, with acclaimed lifestyle and event design expert Preston Bailey. Not only will he share the secrets, tools, and technologies behind his extraordinary ability to create a theatrical environment out of any space, you will also discover more about the man behind the magic. Preston will reveal how his focus on personal growth has been the root of his professional success, and you'll have the opportunity for him to answer your questions along the way. Plus, Preston will be inviting onto the show many of the star celebrities he has worked with in the past, so you don't want to miss a single episode. We also have another great show on the Wedding Biz Network, The Business of Being Creative, with host Sean Lowe. Since debuting last May, his show has really taken off, and he's continuing to bring you the creative business advice he's shared with accomplished industry notables. Be sure to take advantage of Sean's talkback opportunity by recording questions and comments from right there in each episode's show notes. So, if you are a creative who is turning your craft into a business or want to take it to another level, head to theweddingbiznetwork.com and take a listen to Stop and Smell the Roses with Preston Bailey and The Business of Being Creative with Sean Lowe. That's theweddingbiznetwork.com. I'm just happy to hear that there was a way that you found to continue to put yourself out there and to be creative. And because one of the big questions is, how do we keep our passion going during this downtime?
So wait, it's not all, Andy. So I started Cake Talk, and I really believe that in a spiritual, social way, it was exercising me to come back. Because at that point, we turn off as much as all the electricity in the office. We turn off the computers. We turn off the big walk-in refrigerators to save electricity. But as I was doing Cake Talk, it just created a movement. So I believe you have to do something, whether you want to clean your house or fold the laundry or do something to stay active. And miraculously, towards June, clients started to come back with the idea of outdoors weddings.
Okay, got it.
Around New York and New Jersey and Connecticut.
Yes.
So instead of having 200 people, we would get orders for 20. So it's 10th of the size, but it was still very exciting. So I started bringing my employees on a part-time basis whenever we needed. And the very first wedding, which took place in Long Island, the bride said, I know it's going to be small, but I still want a cake that will be tiered. So what I realized, just because the wedding is smaller, doesn't mean that people want a cake to be shrunk totally.
Yeah, right, great.
So maybe we're not going to have 9 tiers, but we'll have 3. So that's something. And the other thing is people started asking for small offerings, macaroons, cookies, and so forth.
Huh.
So then I thought maybe, because I never had time to explore retail, everything that we do is just like your business. People book us in advance,
Right.
audition us, whether by tapes or visiting and tasting the cake. Then we get a deposit and we do a big event. And retail, you have to have stock in advance and hope that somebody will come and buy it, and you need packaging. And so that's how RBI Treats started. So we have RBI Cakes and RBI Treats.
Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. Wow.
It has been going on since June. I tell you what happened. I have a colleague who has many years' experience as a pastry chef in retail and catering, and he lost his job due to COVID. So we met in the park. So that was May. It was a little cool. We were still all wrapped up, and
Right.
I would wear, when I would go out, rubber gloves, black, like a butcher.
Yeah.
That took months to worry less about the gloves.
Right, I remember.
Breath. Yeah.
Sure.
So we were talking about it, and I said, you're not doing anything. I'm not doing that much. Let's do something together. So we partnered up on that venture. And the idea was very simple in the beginning, because we both would rent city bikes, which is you ride bicycles from the city by the hour.
Right.
So I got myself a helmet and started, and it was great because nobody was in the streets.
Oh,
so we
right.
thought we're going to deliver everything ourselves, and easy.
Huh. And what happened?
No, it was good. People still ask us to deliver our treats.
Oh.
Or they would come and pick them up curbside. So I would bring the cookies and the macarons downstairs.
Yeah.
But more and more people from outside of New York City got interested. So we had to figure out how to ship the goods.
Okay.
That's quite a learning curve, to deal with the post office and labeling and packaging and all that. But it was exciting. It is exciting, starting to deal with printers for the labels and companies that manufacture boxes, and then learn how to scale everything and learn. We did a website on Shopify.
Okay. This is brilliant. Yeah, keep going. This is great.
Yeah. I'm smiling. I don't know if you know why.
Because it's working for you.
Yes, but also Shopify today announced that they're cutting off one of the merchants, and they're disallowing them to be part of the platform.
Is it a competitor or something that they're getting rid of?
No, it's those hats and stickers and political.
Oh, that's why it took me a minute there. I'm a little slow today.
So Shopify decided that they're going to take a stand and not allow merchandise that promotes hate and violence.
Wow. I didn't know that. I didn't hear that.
Which is a very big thing in our society. So there's always the question of free will and freedom of speech, which, of course, as a naturalized American, I had to study in order to become a citizen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very proud of it. It was a conscious choice and my path led me to become an American citizen. So I take it very seriously. And I always say, not everybody has to like me. Not everybody has to love me.
Mm-hmm.
People have the right. I have opinions, but I don't have the right to take anybody's else basic human rights.
Yeah, right.
So private businesses, Shopify is privately held, made a statement and they said, we're not just going to accept everybody who wants to sell something online. There should be a difference. So if you want to sell chocolate bonbons online, go ahead. But I'm just now theorizing. But if your chocolate bonbons have a swastika on them,
Yeah, right.
then we disallow it. And that's sort of new for us.
Yeah, it is. I hope that becomes a trend, in other businesses.
It goes both ways. There was a baker a few years ago who refused, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court, who refused to create a cake for a gay couple. And it went on and on and on to the courts, and he eventually persevered based on his religious belief. It's a big stir. So I don't believe in that. I mean, I believe he has a right, but you cannot refuse service to somebody.
Yeah.
But if somebody promotes hate and violence, then we should stand up for that.
Wow, I'm so happy to hear this.
Did you see what I do? I never mention a name.
Of course.
Anyway, we started with Shopify, which is a very complex platform to sell your own products online. And we've been learning along. There's a lot of financial part. It takes a lot. Who would have thought that making a cookie would be so complicated? The actual mixing and baking and packaging is the pleasure. I love putting the ribbons on, and the post office, which suffered greatly. We don't realize how dedicated the people who serve our basic needs are. But
that's right.
Our building in New York City is next to the Grand Post Office. And we see how much they work and how much they suffer. And there were threats to cut down the overtime budget. So every shipper, UPS and FedEx, have been under a tremendous toll. And they have, in the midst of the pandemic, in the snow, they would deliver. And that is a great thing we can't take it for granted.
Yeah, it's interesting. You have a perspective. I mean, I think because you grew up out of this country and had to really work so hard, to get where you are, that you're able to see this more clearly. It's really interesting for me to hear that and to see it that way.
Listen, I get upset when we had some packages we sent out, and costly ones, to our customers before the Christmas holiday and haven't arrived yet.
Yeah.
So we feel awful about it, even though we have documentation that we shipped on time.
Right.
The products got either lost or got, too stale to stand behind them. So we took the policy that we will take care of our clients, even though legally it's the post office.
Right.
First, make sure that everybody's happy. And most clients have been very understanding. A lot of them are professionals themselves who want to support us.
Mm-hmm.
And here and there, people said to me, this is unacceptable. And one client said to me, you ruined Christmas for us.
Oh, geez.
You know what I said?
I'm afraid to ask.
Mrs. Schwartz, you're Jewish.
That's great. Oh, geez.
We laughed about it.
Yeah.
But I don't have the power to ruin Christmas. But it's unfortunate, and packages that I ordered through Amazon have not arrived yet either.
But I'm hearing everything you're talking about, and what I'm really zoning in on is how you found ways to be able to continue to do your passion. And and obviously one day when we look back and we're going to be very busy again, now you're going to have these other streams of revenue coming in.
I hope so. So maybe we should mention the website, Andy.
Please. Yes, let's do that.
We also ship to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So all over the United States. And if somebody wants it in Alaska, we would do that. And
all right.
Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Even though I can't promise how fast it will travel to Hawaii.
Right.
The website is RBI, like my initials, RBI Treats.
Treats. Okay, I'm writing that down. I'm going to look at that. And everyone's listening, we've got to take a look at that. I'll put that in the show notes.
You can also, we found out that through Instagram and Facebook, if you click on the photo that I post, you go directly to the website.
Okay.
It's really interesting. So a small merchant can promote particular products. For instance, we come up with temporary items. We have a new collection of 5 holiday cookies.
Okay.
They are almost out, but we love them so much we don't want to stop. So on Instagram, if you see those photos and you click on it, it will open up the website.
Okay.
And then we are preparing a big surprise, our first Valentine box. So it will be like the holidays we just finished, 100 limited edition boxes.
Wow.
We did 100 for the Christmas holiday, and they got sold in 2 afternoons.
Oh my gosh. Well, and the timing of when this episode comes out, it'll just probably be a couple weeks before Valentine's, so it's good timing.
I'll send you one.
Oh, I would love that.
The nice thing about getting a gift box for a holiday such as Valentine would be that there will be few baked items inside, and they will be in small gift boxes, and one could give the whole thing or share it.
Oh, sounds wonderful. Listen, Ron, I remember when I interviewed you that first time, I'll have a link in the show notes to it because it was a wonderful interview, getting your entire story, which was so fascinating. But, don't forget, I got a tasting when I came to your place. And when this pandemic is over, I need to go taste the macaroons and everything else that you got. You got to promise me.
So, it's very interesting because I heard compliment and demand for years. People say, I wish I would be closer to you so I could taste.
Yeah.
I never took it seriously because we tried and failed miserably in shipping cakes. The only way I could deliver cakes, decorated cakes with all the buttercreams and goodies, would be to fly them or drive them in a refrigerated van.
Yeah.
And now here I am shipping small cakes, individual cakes.
Yep.
Mini bundt cakes, mini loaf cakes, but here we are shipping cakes.
That's wonderful.
So we actually shipped internationally as well, but that was for a corporation that sponsored that. It's very complicated to ship baked goods internationally because of customs, which are different in each country.
Well, tell me again, before we go, I want to get the name of the new TV show so that people can look for it.
Great. So it's called The Big Bake, Season 2. And it's going to be premiering on the Food Network Canada, which is partially owned by the Food Network USA,
Okay.
and eventually come to us. I can't tell you when, but I will be screaming it from the rooftop. So you don't even need Wi-Fi to hear it.
Okay. Well, look, when I find out about it, I'll definitely let everyone know. But this has been so good to catch up with you, Ron. I mean, I think the world of you, and I've been thinking about you since I ran into you at that conference, and I'm just so glad to hear that. I mean, I know, again, we all have major struggles, but in the middle of it, something good came out of it for you.
A lot of good things can come up with that because we have to reevaluate where we are.
Yeah.
And look at you. Your hair is great. I mean, it's long.
Well, and you know what? And I have expanded the podcast work. I mean, this has been an opportunity. I mean, I've also been redoing all the promotional material for the band business, and I got a business partner too. And it was September of 2019, before the pandemic. And Ron, we were just killing it. Like, the momentum was incredible. Of course, it all got cut off. But I know that when people feel more secure about the vaccinations and they start to book parties again because they know the timing, I'm really confident that we're all going to come back stronger, all of us.
That's wonderful to hear. Now, we need to say to each other, I want to acknowledge before we go that we lost at least one person before COVID. Harriet Rose Katz, the celebrated event planner.
Yes.
She was bigger than life, and when we went to the memorial, it was very sad, but also uplifting because everybody showed up.
Oh, she was an icon. I have a really funny story before we go. I got to tell this story. All right. So this was back in, I don't know, early 2000s. Maybe it was the late 90s. And somehow I got introduced to her. And I knew, that she's it. I mean, especially back in those days, and And I went to this apartment. You've probably seen it. I mean, this, lots of gold stuff all over the place. I mean, I remember, very luxurious. And, the way she is, I mean, she's, Harriet Rose Katz. And so this is VHS tape time. I mean, this is way back. So I guess it was the 90s. And I had a VHS tape to show her, about my top band. And she said, well, I only have a VCR in the bedroom. And I said, okay, fine. All right, let's go. So we went into the bedroom. We sit on the edge of the bed and we watched the band tape. Well, I want to cut to, this is like 20 years later or 18 years later. I talked to her again. I run into her. I said, Harriet, you and I were in your bedroom together. I don't know if you remember this. And just had a really good laugh over that. Because if you could have seen the look on her face when I said I was in your bedroom with you, it was not to be forgotten. And then I told her the story and she relaxed and could breathe again.
Right. It's good to acknowledge that none of us started from nowhere, and hopefully we can also pass on. And you've been doing it. You've been doing the podcast religiously, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, I've picked it up.
You put a lot into it.
Yeah, thanks.
It's entertaining and educational.
Thank you, Ron. Well, look, I want to stay in touch with what you're doing and how the show goes, and I'm not going to let up about needing to taste the macaroons and everything else that you have now. So we're going to be in touch.
Great. Okay. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for listening to my conversation with Ron Ben Israel. Be sure to check out his sites, weddingcakes.com, and his new venture, RBI Treats.com. His social media handles on Instagram and Facebook is RBI Cakes. If you missed that, just go to the show notes at our website of theweddingbiz.com. And be sure to look out for the upcoming new second season on The Big Bake on the Food Network Canada. And check out his new business, his new additional business, RBI Treats. And so if you could please share this with your friends and colleagues and give a great review wherever you get your podcast from, that would really help people find not only this conversation with Ron, but also the show. And then on Wednesday, in lieu of the typical Next Level episode, I have a conversation with Tara Gerard. And we'll catch you next time on The Wedding Biz.